What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Black Apino the Apple Guy. Welcome. And today I want to be talking about why I switched from my Panasonic camera lineup to my new lineup of Sony cameras. So if you're new to my channel, I started off with my first cameras being the Panasonic lineup. I started with the G7, which I believe was around $500 for that, and then I went from the G7 to the G85 and kind of used both of those cameras for about 3 to 4 years. And these are my primary cameras that I used for practically everything I did for YouTube, whether it was for unboxings or for any type of daily vlogs or vlogs like this. Now I had them for, as I said before, 3 to 4 years. Bought the G7 because at the time when I bought it, it being my first camera, it was pretty inexpensive considering what it had. It had a 4K capabilities, and it also had a swivel out screen which was fully touch articulated, which really there was nothing in the price category that gave me that type of capabilities. And it could also shoot at 4K, shoot at 1080 at both 60 and 30, and again 4K at both 24 and 30 frames a second. It was a micro four thirds lens system, so from what I understand, it is a much older system, but in terms of just the body and the kit lens that came with it, it was a pretty decent price. As I said, it was around $500. So I love the Panasonic lineup so much that I actually bought a second Panasonic camera, the Panasonic G85. Now the only difference between the G85 and the G7 was that the G85 was an all-weather camera, whereas the G7 wasn't. And what I mean by that is that the G85 was a weather seal system, so not only could I take it out in the rain or take it out where there was a lot of dust, I wouldn't have to worry about getting into the camera itself. And it also had what was known as dual IBIS, which stands for in-body image stabilization. So wherever I took the camera, any types of vlogs or any types of videos that I was doing out and about, I wouldn't have to worry about the video being shaky or any type of movement with it, because the sensor inside the camera would stay in one position, and no matter how the body was moved, the sensor would just sit there. And I had these for, like I said, 3 to 4 years, and they worked well for a while. The only issue I was having with them was the autofocus, which when I first bought the Panasonic lineup, I had heard that they had some autofocus issues, but I didn't think that it would really concern me as much because I didn't think I would be worrying about autofocus in terms of what I was doing on my video channel. And it became apparent as I started becoming more and more putting out content, especially when it came to unboxing videos, that I would notice that sometimes the autofocus really wouldn't focus on the products that I needed it to focus on. So if I was doing an unboxing, for example, if I got my hand in the shot, it would automatically start to defocus or try to focus on my hand instead of focusing back on the product. And if it came to doing a type of vloggings, like talking head vloggings, then again, it would have issues with trying to stay focused on me. It would always try to tend to focus hunt, I guess, if you want to call it that. And at the time when I bought it, I heard about it, but I didn't really think much about it because I didn't think it was going to affect me that much in terms of making my content and throwing it up on YouTube. And it started to get really bad. So I'm not knocking Panasonic in terms of the camera itself being bad. It's just the autofocus system on the Panasonic is not as good as you would find on a Sony or on a Canon. So I eventually got rid of my Panasonic lineup and started shooting on the Sony camera lineup. My first one being the Sony ZV-1, which I got just to the right there or left there, and my newest camera, the A6400, which I have paired with the Sigma 60mm f1.4. Now, when I bought the Sony cameras, I actually bought the ZV-1 first, which Sony dubbed their content creator camera, and it's a really good camera. Autofocus on it is really good. Considering that it's a compact camera, you simply just put it in your pocket. If you need to make some videos, you pull out the screen, and it automatically comes up. Now, it does have an articulating screen, but it is not full touch. I was really hoping it would be, as the Panasonic did have that, and it was actually a lot less expensive than the ZV-1. But again, the fact that it does have a full articulating pull-out screen at its price category, again, I didn't really find anything in that price category that had that other than the, again, Canon M50, but in terms of compact, it was not as compact as the ZV-1. The M50 has interchangeable lenses, where this is just your simple point and shoot that has 4K capabilities. And so I bought that, and then I started looking around to get me another Sony camera, and that's when I discovered the A6000 lineups. And so I decided to get the A6400. I bought the kit, or I should say I bought the body on its own, which was $899. And then I bought a Sony line, or Sony lenses. I bought two of them. I actually bought a 16mm f2.8 and the 16 and 50mm f3.5 to 5.6 kit lens, which actually you would get with the A6400 if you had bought it with the if you bought it as a bundle. But I actually got those two lenses as kind of an open box, so they're typically like $250. I actually got them for around 100, and well, I got one of them for like 160, the other one for like 180. And then I started hearing about Sigma lenses, and again, I didn't really know much about the Sigma lenses, but I was looking to kind of up my camera lens on my A6400, and so I bought the Sigma 30mm f1.4. And in terms of just video quality wise, it's a great lens, especially paired with the A6400. But in terms of just vlogging, especially like with this type of vlogging, with the A6400, these are APS-C centered cameras, so when you hit that record, it tends to bring you a little bit closer. So depending on the lens that you're using, it will crop in. Whether you're shooting at 1080 or whether you're shooting at 4K, it will crop in. So using the 30mm in a situation like this really wasn't as good as my next lens that I'm shooting at right now, which is the Sigma 16mm f1.4. Now, both of these lenses are prime lenses. So what does that mean? That means that basically 16mm is the focal length for that, and 30mm is for the other Sigma. But what I love about the Sigma 16 paired with the A6400 is the autofocus on this camera is amazing. So here's the lens cap. I can put it up like there. Focus is really quick. Back on me really quick. Now, if I had a Panasonic camera side by side with this, with the 16mm, if I were to do this to the Sigma, as you can see, it autofocuses quick and then back to me quick. Now with the 16 or with the 12 to 16mm on the G85, it would take maybe about a minute for it to actually focus on it. And again, with the Panasonic lineup, it is a touch screen also as well, so I can actually tap to focus on the screen, which would therefore, wherever I tap it to, that's where it would focus on. Even doing that, it still would have a hard time focusing, whereas with the Sony lineup, no matter which lens I use, whether it's the kit lenses or either one of my Sigmas, the autofocus is amazing on this. Again, it's kind of hard to pass that up, especially when it comes to these kind of lenses. Now, video recording time, both cameras that I have a no limit recording, so I can record for as long as I want. Now, with the A6400, it doesn't have the optical image stabilization. It has OSS, but that depends on if the lens itself has OSS. Otherwise, the camera itself is just kind of like a digital version of IBIS. But my 16 to 50mm, it does have OSS, which stands for optical steady shot. So when enabled on the camera, the lens itself has some sort of stability in it. So although the video will not be as shaky, it's still a little shaky, but it won't be the same as if neither the lens nor the camera had it. Hence, usually when I'm using the A6400 with the 16mm, I have it on a tripod, whether it's the Joby or my Manfrotto tabletop one. That is what I use pretty much for if I'm out in the field and I'm just kind of walking around and doing daily vlogs. But other than that, that's the real reason, that's the main reason as to why I switched from Panasonic to Sony. I do get questions asked a lot when I tell people that I'm a YouTuber and I do make content. They usually will tend to ask me, what camera do I use? What camera did I use before that, or why switch from one camera to the next? And so again, I'm not knocking Panasonic. It's an amazing camera. It's just they really need to work on that autofocus. I think the autofocus is just not on par with Canon's dual auto pixel focus or Sony's autofocus when it comes to using their lenses and their cameras. So I hope that this video was helpful. I just wanted to throw this out there for anyone who is looking to buy either the Sony or the Panasonic and which one they should choose. Now, whichever camera works best for you and your budget is what you should buy. Again, there's nothing wrong with the Panasonic lineup. It's just the autofocus is just not really good, and there's a lot of hacks that you can use to kind of get around from that. And I've used most of these, but it just doesn't really work well sometimes, because sometimes you have to redo the hack in order for it to work. And I just don't want to be doing that. I really want something that just gives me great autofocus straight off the bat, and hence why I chose the Sony lineup. That is why I'm shooting on the A6400 and the Sony ZV-1. And I'm also looking to buy another Sony camera. I'm thinking of getting the A6600 because it has what is known as dual IBIS, just like the Panasonic G85 that I had. It has in-body image stabilization in the camera as well as with the lens. But Sony's going to be announcing some new cameras out on July 7th during their live video feed, or during their live presentation. So we'll wait and see. From what I understand, there's going to be a new Sony ZV-1 with interchangeable lenses. Hopefully they'll be coming out with a new APS-C censored camera. If they do, then I might buy the newer one or wait for the A6400 to go, less expensive, because typically that's what happens when you have new cameras that come out. Older ones tend to drop down in price. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please give me a thumbs up, as these likes do help me create better content. Again, if you're new to my channel, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, that way you don't miss content when I drop it. And I'll drop links down below if you want to take a look at my review of the A6400 and the Sony ZV-1. And again, my name is Black Apino, the Apple Guy, and I want to thank everybody for watching. Hope you guys are enjoying your summer, and I'll see you guys in the next video.